All right, hey VC, how you doing? My name is Jamie, and welcome back. Thanks for stopping by. Certainly do appreciate it. Thought I'd feature another box set on this one. This is one I had picked up earlier this year, but I'd never had a chance to feature it. I had purchased it before I was uploading videos with this YouTube channel. I was always going to feature it, never got around to it, but I didn't want to let this year go by without spotlighting it. Certainly another fantastic band from the 60s, a group that was really only together for a couple of years, but we're talking about Buffalo Springfield. For what it's worth, or the name of this box, What's That Sound? Complete Album Collection. So this is the vinyl edition, and this features their 3 albums, Buffalo Springfield Again, and Last Time Around. First 2, both mono and stereo releases, and then the third, the stereo release only. So 5 LP vinyl set, and man, what can you say? What an influential band when you've got Richie Furay along with Stephen Stills and Neil Young. Of course, after the group broke up, Stephen Stills would hook up with David Crosby and Graham Nash for CSN. Neil Young would start a solo career, but then would also hook up with CSN to form CSNY. What an influential group from the mid-60s, and again, only together for just a short time. So this is the vinyl edition. It simply opens up like that. And you got that on top, and then this was what was affixed to the back initially. It came off like that, and so this gives you an indication, as I mentioned, the stereo and mono releases, and remastered from the original analog tapes under the auspices of Neil Young on 180-gram vinyl for the first time, limited edition of 5,000. But there doesn't seem to be any special numbers, though, on this. It includes faithful reproductions of the original sleeves and gatefold. And again, what a band when you're talking songs like Nowadays Clancy Can't Even Sing. You've got Flying on the Ground Is Wrong. Guess who also covered that song? For What It's Worth. A massive hit. And you've got Expecting to Fly, Mr. Soul, Rock and Roll Woman, Broken Arrow, I'm a Child, to name just a few, On the Way Home. Oh, it's such a short time. So this will give you an indication of what's inside. Of course, we'll take a look at the albums. And what's very interesting is that on the first release, on the mono version, there is an extra song that they didn't include on the stereo version when initially released. The song Baby Don't Scold Me was on the mono version of the album, but not on the stereo. So that's kind of nice to have all that. Okay, so I hope that gives you an indication, and it doesn't come with any booklet or anything like that, but it does come with an insert, and Neil Young does the write-ups through it. So it's interesting they had Neil Young do it, not Stephen Stills or even Richie Furay, especially when Neil Young's a hard guy to kind of pin down sometimes, and but obviously Neil Young's always very concerned with how the sound quality and general presentation. So he does a write-up for each of the albums, both for mono and stereo. There is some repeat in some of this, though, once they get to the line, the sonic landscape is as it was in the beginning, especially on the vinyl version, etc., etc. They repeat that throughout each one, so there is a bit of repeat, but... okay, so there's that. And so let's take a look inside. So they just simply sit inside like that. So it's not a slipcase or anything like that. So here is Buffalo Springfield, first album, mono version. And again, for a band, only together a short time, but what a huge influence. And 180-gram vinyl, and reproducing the classic Atco label on black vinyl. And it was nice to see for this box set that these albums don't have any barcodes or anything like that inserted. So it was nice that they created this box set specifically this way, so they don't have the barcodes or anything like that, which is quite nice to see. So there you have that. So that was the mono version, and of course you're going to get a lot of duplication in terms of material for obvious reasons, and certainly in presentation. So the stereo version looks the same, and the label is the same. Buffalo Springfield Again, classic second album from this group. Looking a little bit more psychedelic on this one. Always love this back cover, and all the people that they thank on this, including Frank Zappa. And they also thank, what I didn't know initially, Randy Bachman, but if it's Randy Bachman from the BTO or the Guess Who fame, they actually spell his name wrong with a K, when Randy Bachman doesn't spell it with a K, he spells it with an H, I believe. But all these people they thank on this album. And again on the Atco label. So that's the mono version, and of course the stereo version, pretty much identical in its presentation. But the albums play great, and the albums sound absolutely terrific. So Rhino did a really nice job with this. And then, last but certainly not least, is Last Time Around. So those are the first two albums, both mono and stereo. This one only released in stereo, so there's no mono version of this. But this is a nice gatefold. And so it opens up like that. Very nice. And then the album comes out in the middle like this. And again on the Atco label. Okay, so there you have it. I was very happy with this box set overall, and I think generally quite a nice presentation, and certainly some amazing albums. Now, I did pick up the CD version of this because I always like to compare, and so here's the CD version, and there was some criticism on the basic cover of this, that the cover is plain. I don't really have an issue with the cover for this box set. I think it's fine. And then so you have that, and then certainly on the back, now this doesn't come off or anything like that, it's fixed to the back, and then it's a clamshell, so it simply opens up like that. And then inside they have the write-up for the albums by Neil Young, but of course it's like this, so it's rather small, rather tiny. And then for this I did save the hype sticker, that I just simply put on the back like that. But yeah, it's rather tiny, but it's all there, so it's nice to see that they did include that. I think they probably could have included some more comprehensive booklet, in my opinion overall. And then the CDs are simply housed inside like this. Sadly, there's no spine on the CDs. They're simply cardboard, and they slip out like that. But they do recreate the album label, which is kind of cool. And so there's that. And again, this includes both mono, stereo, the same sort of packaging overall as the vinyl, but again, just the sort of thin cardboard sleeve. So there you have the first two, like that, and then of course the second two like this. Again, mono and stereo, and then the third one, which thankfully they do include as a gatefold, which is kind of nice, considering they didn't quite do that with the other ones in terms of the general packaging. But this one has a nice spine. They do recreate the gatefold, which is quite nice. No sleeves for the CDs, and of course they have this come out the same way on the inside, which is a nice touch. And then that's it in terms of packaging overall. All right, so there you have some absolute classic Buffalo Springfield. Now, the only other Buffalo Springfield I have in my collection is the box set that came out a number of years ago. This box set, I believe, also through Rhino, has been reissued as sort of a slightly smaller box set. But certainly, if you want a great overview of Buffalo Springfield with a lot of additional tracks, this is definitely one to pick up, because they do include demos and some remixes of some of the tracks, but a lot of demos, so a lot of alternate takes. And this is a 4 CD set. This came out in 2001, and as I mentioned, I'm almost positive they did reissue this on sort of a smaller set, but with all, of course, the same music. But certainly at one time, this was pretty much the definitive set. I guess you could still say it's still the definitive box set with regards to the music of Buffalo Springfield. But this gives you a lot of great stuff. And we'll take a quick look inside. It simply opens up like that. And then opens up like that. I thought the packaging on this one was a little interesting, certainly in terms of the booklet. That's a little, I don't want to say hard to read, but it's an unusual presentation for this group. There's a lot of sort of, I don't know, want to say cut and paste kind of thing. It's kind of like it's all over the place, and the way they sort of cut and paste the pictures and then newspaper articles. Still interesting, but it's a little unusual. But again, it was certainly Rhino. They certainly in the early days were always coming up with interesting and creative ways of doing things. So you have that, and then the CDs. Very nice that they're on the jewel cases. They're simply housed in like that, and like that, and like that, and like that. All right, so that is going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you so much for dropping by. And again, if you can pick this up, I would say it's very much worth it. Really, really great listening and a hugely influential band. So that's it for me. We'll chat again. Take care. Bye-bye.